Most AI systems aren't limited by intelligence anymore. They're limited by how much of your life are you willing to hand them. PewDiePie has just released his own open source project called Odysseus, and the reason I'm calling it OpenClaw is it's because it's the closest thing to what it feels like. Why am I doing Italian hands? So it's a self-hosted AI workspace and it has lots of things. It has chat, agent, memory, research, emails, documents, local models, cookbook, all wrapped around your data. The local is a key word here. So if you use ChatGPT or any other tool for your actual work, you already know the trade-off. The more context and tools you give it, the better it will be. A blank chatbot is useful, but if you give it memory, your email, access to your tools, it's something different. And that's the tension. The product that everybody wants most to use requires the most amount of trust. So Odysseus is PewDiePie's attempt to put the whole thing in one place. In his video, he describes it as a Claude or ChatGPT's web UI, but self-hosted, so no subscriptions, no tracking. Odysseus is PewDiePie's attempt to put this whole thing into place. He describes it as ChatGPT or Claude's web UI, but just self-hosted, so no tracking, no subscriptions. The interesting part is it's built on open code. He has memory pooled from conversations. He built an email client and email flags urgency and drafts auto replies. It has deep research. It can edit the documents. It has calendar, notes, image editing, and a cookbook. So cookbook sounds pretty funny, but it's not actually about cooking. It's about finding local models and running them on your local machine in a much more convenient way rather than just going to Hugging Face and doing it there. A lot of things that he describes, I've already tried building myself in the past with other tools, and it's not as simple as it sounds, and I'm pretty much impressed, I can already tell you, even without looking at this, that he has managed to build his own tool that became very useful to him, and now he's just willing to open source it. That's kind of why I think the whole, kind of stepping a bit aside, that's why I think this is a revolution with this new system of AI coding, that anybody can create any software, any tools themselves, and just put it out. That's why I see lots of people in AI specifically excited about open source projects. But for now, it's limited to AI bros. I have a bunch of friends and they're not willing to try to get an open source project, install it, and try running it. So there's still a big gap, but still exciting. But I can kind of see the attraction of doing something like this. When you're running local models, you don't really have that many good UIs with good options. I mean, people have figured out how to connect Cloud Code to the open models, but it's okay. It's not your generic AI that can do things for you. Hermes and OpenClaw agents are very popular, but a lot of people are afraid of running them due to security risks. Of course, Odysseus itself, as an open source software, has its own flaws, and it was just released a day ago, but it's still exciting and points us into the direction this whole thing is going. So the reason I'm calling it OpenClaw in my title is because it feels like OpenClaw. A lot of people are comparing models to models, so Claude to Gemini to ChatGPT to open source models, while now the new layer emerges, the apps that are built on top of that, the agentic systems, and so OpenClaw was the thing that blew everything up. Then we've got Hermes and a lot of other similar agents, and this is the same thing. It has a chat, it has an agent that acts for you, it remembers things, the research happens there, documents live there, it can run locally, and it can do search. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm sure there will be more things around it as he evolves it. I would like to see how he is going to actually lead it, because trust me, now leading an open source project is so much work. First of all, you have to be a developer just to get all of the shit PRs out of the way. And second, it's just so much work. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Probably what I would expect is a lot of people will just start forking it and just using and creating their own versions of that, while he will just be gradually releasing his own updates without accepting other PRs. But in his video, he is mentioning that others will do the Mac and Windows native updates. So probably he is planning to update those and use somebody else's PRs. So I'm going to be running Qwen 3.6, 35 billion active 3 billion parameters model for this. The way that I'm setting this up is I'm going to need to load it in LM Studio. I'm going to go to the developer/local server area. Now we're going to need to add a server. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to take the host.docker internal endpoint and add it to Odysseus to run it. All right, now, as the Odysseus is up, the first thing that you need to do, I see, is you need to set up your admin account. I'm not gonna show you that, so I'll jump straight into the next part. And we're in. First impressions, looks nice. Most of the stuff on it is not your typical AI design, which I appreciate. It's not that easy to make the AI make non-AI design. I wonder what AI design tool he used. I mean, it's simplistic, but it's not this regular AI taste that it gives you. I wonder if it was built with an open source model. That's why it is like this. All right, so let's check it out. Right away, I see that I have a model selector, so whatever model I have downloaded in the LM Studio is available here, which is pretty convenient. So I'm gonna pick the Qwen 3.6 for now. I have an agent and a chat selector. Hey, let's try sending a message. Hey, who are you? Well, the messages UI is pretty neat. I know, because it's really hard to make it stream well and at the same time display things nicely. And you have right away the context window. That's pretty good as well. I can edit messages. Okay, what if I do this? Resend it. Okay, that's a good one. Resending, copying it. Nice. Regenerate from here. Rewrite shorter. Explain simpler. For conversation. So this is a lot of stuff, even in like the small chat part. To implement all of this, he must have been working on this for a month or a few months. This is a lot of small details, because imagine this. This all doesn't come pre-made unless he used some library, but he had to think, I need to fork a conversation. How does that work? How is it gonna look like? For example, when you see fork a conversation, he would have to think, okay, who's gonna use it? How's it gonna work? How's it gonna look for the user? Functionally, does that create a new chat or no? Etc. So most of these things are pretty obvious, but when you start getting into the detail and testing this, that's when it becomes pretty hard and a lot of time has to be spent. But that is pretty interesting. Attaching files. What is documents? Documents is when you can create documents here, I guess. Oh my God, how many documents he created. What the hell? Well, I guess most of these are code. I see PDF, email, CSV. Well, like, okay, CSV isn't actually a CSV. It's a regular document. Well, unless we could try doing this. Generate a CSV for small personal finance tracker. Let's see what it does. Okay, generated the CSV. Oh, okay. I see. It is a CSV in the table that I can edit. It's just not formatted correct. Okay, that's fine. I'll give it a pass on that. Still pretty cool. Does it render HTML? So that's one thing that I've seen from Anthropic.
talking about how HTML dashboards are the future of presenting things because they can be interactive. AI is pretty good with HTML. So while it's running, the other thing that I noticed but didn't talk about is when I'm asking who are you, it's talking about being Quen, AI assistant. So effectively, this in itself by default doesn't have a prompt system, any sol, MD file, or anything. So it's just a default Quen model. So I'm assuming there must be a way to go in and start editing it, just not sure where it is immediately. Okay, and yeah, HTML renders, although it's a horrendous HTML, but that's my problem. All right, that's pretty neat. Now, let's take a look at what else he has. Okay, that's a search from conversations, a list of chats. That's pretty nice. Although, if it's just in line here, it might get overwhelming. Probably might need some kind of a separate folder for that, or sub navigation. Okay, email. Ooh, nice tutorials. Okay, good. Pro tip, drag any window, tile bar. I see. So like that. Okay. I'm gonna have to go into themes now. I'm gonna have to enjoy themes first, guys. This theme is a bit too much for me. I'm somehow I'm more used to white themes, and white themes to me always seem like they're a bit white themes seem like they're a bit more non-technical. Because if you look at this whole thing looks overwhelming and technical, right? If you make it white, well, this is this is some pink power thing. This one, a bit better. But I can definitely see that he is a bit of a fan of black themes. Although I do wonder which one he's using. I'm sure he's using the original one. But let me, I don't know. Actually, after playing around, maybe I'll just stay with the original one. All right, let's take a look at what else. Email we've looked at already. That probably requires me connecting an email with the server so that it loads all of these things. Oh, I see. And the rest is tools. I guess. Okay, so let's take a look at the brain. So brain, I see memories will be added. I guess I could add them myself. Skills, generate personal finance CSV template. Oh, I see. So it's looking at the things that I've done with it and it suggests auto skills. That's pretty neat. So that's one thing I found as a non-technical user, you're unlikely to create any skill because you don't know what skills are, you don't know how they work unless you really try to be AI native and then you know that. So suggesting to people that here are the skills that you can generate based on your own work is pretty neat and useful. Okay, custom skills. The other thing that you could add, and that's what I've added in one of the projects of mine, is adding an agent that you can talk to that can help you generate those skills. Because adding them from scratch as a skill is a bit of an, again, you have to probably go to an AI agent and ask it to generate it and describe it. So might as well add a chat input form here where you can chat with an agent with the same model and it would have like a custom prompt knowing how to create skills and ask you about various things that you want to automate and it can help you. That would be pretty neat. Extracting memories, injecting skills, auto-approving skills. Okay, interesting. Compare. Oh, okay. Now that's interesting. Out of all of the things that he was talking about, this is a pretty neat thing to use for model benchmarking and testing. Okay, finally, we're cooking. Damn, that's a lot of things. I really wonder how long he spent doing this. from his YouTube retirement. Help me understand the new model release from Minimax 3.0 and why it's better and how it compares to other model providers. What do we have here? Auto product compare how to, rounds, auto search engine. Okay, endpoint model. Okay, let's try it out. Well, I would expect that this top window would close and I would just have a chat or some kind of an UI showcasing all of this separately. But okay, let's put it aside and let's, in the meantime, while it's working, take a look at something else. Okay, gallery of photos, okay. Library, documents, chats, everything that I've done, that's nice. And a list of all of the chats, okay. Oh, it's cron jobs. I see. Now, how do I add one? Okay, prompt on schedule, prompt on event. Interesting. Research on schedule, research on event, action on schedule. Remove junk documents, daily brief, mark email boundaries, test skills, audit skills, draft email replies. Okay, so it's a cron job creator. Again, amazing that it's here as well as having an ability to add hooks. So prompt an event when there's a trigger of a specific event. The complex thing about this was with any AI tool is look at the amount of stuff you have to configure and learn that you need to configure just to start using this thing on your own. And it's definitely, it requires dedication to this tool. And I'm not sure how many people are willing to do it. So I think this would also benefit from AI creation, an ability to create it with AI or an ability to do it yourself. Okay. And then looking at the settings, we can add a bunch of additional things. Even shortcuts? Damn. Okay. Accounts, integrations. What type of integrations do you have? Contacts, email, MCP tool server. That's nice. Like this is a very, very sophisticated, detailed system, honestly. I'm really impressed by what he's done here. This, again, goes back to what I was saying, that anybody who learns and has the right tools can create those systems, those products, or even small tools for themselves easily with AI by coding them. Because as far as I know, PewDiePie doesn't have a coding background. But coding all of this, making it work, and I'm sure because he built it for himself, it works for him. And that's the most important thing, because he built it for himself and this can be useful for other people. That's why he released it. But still, that's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of testing, a lot of thinking on how all of these things should work. And that is a pretty exciting thing. I really love where all of this is going. I am very interested in this tool and I'll continue testing it out and using it in my own time. I was looking through his GitHub. Here's an interesting thing that I found. He has a roadmap. Let's see what this roadmap is. A fresh Docker install, integration audit, self-hosted troubleshooting cookbook, tile window management correctness, escape button skill audit, better degraded state reporting provider. Okay, so honestly, from all of these things, the immediate thing that I would say is adding a proper tutorial system to it, because as a new user, I open it up and I see a bunch of tabs in a chat window. So the immediate instinct is send a chat message.
But maybe I should go to the tabs, or at least how do I know what it can do and what should be my user journey is pretty much a must-have, I think. So adding this would be definitely useful. PewDiePie, hit me up, I can work on this. Okay, he has some refactoring, he has front-end work, back-end work. So let me know if any of you have tried it or see any comparisons to other AI tools that you're using. And I'll see you in the next video.